Welcome to the Podtendo podcast, where we analyze, reminisce, and replay the glory of old Nintendo games. We can be contacted on Twitter at Podtendo Podcast, email us at podtendo@gmail.com, or check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/podtendo. I am your co-host, Mick, and I'll be joined every episode by my beautiful, talented, lovely co-host,
Tyson.
Do you have any nice things to say about me?
You're a very good writer.
Wow, what kind words. Kind words from Caesar. So, how are you doing?
I'm good.
Excellent.
Good. How are you?
I'm okay.
I was just going to say I took actually a little bit of a long weekend, which is kind of nice.
Very nice.
I caught up on some studying.
Awesome. Yeah, I've been going for... we decided that in November we should move, so I've just been going and... But we're all done.
The worst.
We're all done now. I'm a little sad to see Month of Mario go. Bye, Month of Mario.
Yeah, it was a fun month.
It was good. A lot of fun with those last episodes. So we're moving into December, the new month. We're kind of going to do something a little bit more consumer-driven. And with that in mind, we've got... Well, there was supposed to be a game coming out, so we'll talk about that one afterwards when we get to it. But for today's show, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing kind of a pseudo review of the NES Mini. Did you buy one?
Yes. I did not.
Nah,
did
me
you?
neither. No, you know what? It wasn't even on my radar until it was sold out everywhere. Then I wanted one. Like, I don't want one to play it, because I have an emulator on my computer that works 100 times better, but the fact that it's rare, I now want one.
Yeah, no, I'm exactly in that band camp. I'm glad you said that, because I think that a lot of people were kind of like that, which is hence the shortage.
Yeah. But Nintendo is notorious for underselling their products. Remember Amiibos?
Yeah.
It's the same goddamn thing, right? Like, It's just, hey, well, actually, there was a bit of a story behind the Amiibos, why they were so rare. And this is just them underselling their product to drive up the price, which doesn't make sense because they don't make more money.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where I think from an investor's standpoint, they want to space out their cash flows as long as they can to make their books look very healthy, show consecutive growth, because in the electronics industry, like, you think Apple has like 20 products that they can release or do refreshes out throughout the year and kind of build hype. That's why they're really popular. Whereas if you look at someone like Nintendo, it's like, well, we have our handhelds and consoles that come out every few years, so there's that, and there's this new game. How about this new game? It's like, so I feel like they need to time out or how they do things. So when they do have a big hype product, they need to like make it last for the whole month. Because think about when the Nintendo Switch is going to come out. It's going to come out in March. I guarantee that even in Christmas, there's still going to be shortages for frickin' hardware. Because why wouldn't it be? It's good for business. Have a whole year of hype instead of like hype and big sales, then all of a sudden people start talking about how, oh, well, the Nintendo Switch was a great selling console. Nintendo is doing successfully, because all people do when they talk about Nintendo is like, oh, I worry about Nintendo. Poor Nintendo. It's like, yeah, it's a dying industry, but if they can manage it correctly, they should be fine, and they're smart, so I feel like they're on the right track. So
yeah, that's fair. I don't know. Looking at it as an outsider, these people are buying up these consoles and now jacking up the prices on everything. And why does it, so Nintendo's not getting that extra cash flow. It's all these collectors, and then by the time they release the NES Mini, these people that really wanted them aren't going to be buying. It's just, I don't know. Like, I went on Black Friday, I went into EB Games to grab a couple games, and there's just tons and tons of Amiibos. I have a Samus first edition from the very first series of Amiibos that were released, and it's a little bit rarer, right? I think I paid $15 in store. It's worth, maybe I could probably get it for $50. I think I have a Star Fox as well. There's 15 Metroids sitting on the wall in that store now. No one cares, because it's gone, and I hope they didn't do the same thing with the NES Mini, but such is life.
I hope so, man. I just think that maybe there's a big enough consumer base, because like maybe there's enough people in the woodwork that like the original Nintendo so much that they're like, man, I remember playing that game. That their mother or their cousin, people that may not play games, they're just like, oh, I'll buy it just for nostalgic reasons.
Yeah.
So
they did the same thing with the Wii. Remember how popular and rare the Wii was for a while? I just don't understand why they just don't
ramp up production and then produce as many as they can. Yeah, it makes no sense economically. It really does. It's counterintuitive what they do, so I don't know.
Silly. So, as a result...
Maybe they just don't have the cash flows.
It could be. I mean, that could be they are maybe in worse shape than we think, or they let on. But with that being said, so we're going to do a couple called like NES Mini reviews. We're just going to look at some of the games that are on there and just talk about them, because you know what, it's in the lexicon. Maybe get a couple of extra listeners, or your listeners, not viewers, a couple extra listeners as a result, some followers, get some conversation going, and maybe we'll have people call in and say, hey, I want to talk about Star Tropics or Mega Man 2 or something like that, right? Like lots of fun titles. We picked probably the boringest game to start on.
Yeah, it's not the greatest.
So we're going to start with the arcade title Donkey Kong. There was a port on the NES, so we're playing by the rules, guys. The release date was July 31st, 1981. How long to beat has this game at 24 minutes. 24 minutes means you're probably pretty bad at this game. Actual retail price would have cost you 25 cents to play this back in the day. That's an arcade joke. I don't know what inflation is on a quarter, so sorry guys. I really just stopped doing that. Current eBay price, $62 would get you a complete NES cartridge and box copy with the manual and everything like that. So that's actually not terrible. It's a really short game, so don't waste your money on it by any means. But it's not terrible.
No, it's a completely adequate game. It's just really short for what you get.
Absolutely. Well, or if you really got some cash flowing around, for about $3,600, you can get a working arcade box. So that's kind of neat.
Yeah. See, I always wanted to get an arcade box. I don't think Donkey Kong would be on my list. But...
No. Well, if I was to buy an arcade box, what I'd want to do is I would just basically build a shell, get a cheap TV, put it in the screen, and hook up like a retro-gen console with a game that I'd want to play, like A Link to the Past or something, and maybe pay an artist to like paint the sides for me, and then hook up the gamepad, because I'm sure you could wire something like a gamepad so that you could, or even just have a controller coming out of it so you could stand up and play like A Link to the Past or something. I think that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I agreed.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. And then, sorry, the eShop price, it's $5 on the Wii. So if you do have a Wii, you can buy yourself a little this title and play through it. So
yes.
All right. So some of the development details. This game was the latest in a series of efforts by Nintendo to break into the North American arcade market. It was Shigeru Miyamoto's first project as a game designer. Have you ever heard of that guy before?
No, name just doesn't ring a bell at all.
Yeah, I've never heard of him before either. So I don't know. Maybe we should look into that. Drawing from a wide inspiration, including Popeye, Beauty and the Beast, and King Kong, they came up with the concept of Donkey Kong. Miyamoto developed the scenarios and designed the game alongside Gunpei Yokoi. Ooh, I really butchered that guy. Ooh. You take a stab at it. Man. You take a stab at it.
Gunpei Yokoi.
See, it's tough. Get off me. Again, also a very prominent figure in Nintendo right now. So, again, we're kind of starting to see Nintendo now, like where it's coming from, right?
Yep. This is the laying the
ground.
Basement floor of the skyscraper.
Perfect. I like it. We first see Jumpman, which was a play on Walkman and Pac-Man. Later, he was called Mario, after Mario Segel, the landlord of the original office space of a Nintendo of America. After some hesitation, Nintendo convinced them to put up the arcade in 2 bars in Seattle. After pulling in $30 a day, or 120 plays for that day, for a week straight, they requested more units, and Donkey Kong became the hit that we know and love.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Like, you got to think of that return on investment. Like, if one of these arcade boxes, because they definitely didn't cost that much to get in the store for them.
Yeah, well, because let's say it's looking at $30 a day. It's coming in for a week straight, so $120 it's costing you, or it's bringing in for you for that week. That's pretty good return, right? And not only are those people are coming into your bars, they're probably also eating food. They're like hanging out. They're not just coming in and playing just this arcade. So those things just kill.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and my last development note was the game was 20 kilobytes in size.
That's crazy, so insane.
Them having to work with these small little things.
Yeah.
In terms of that, this game is very arcadey. You move left to right and you jump. That's it for controls. So I didn't even make notes for the control section. Just left, right, jump.
Yep.
There's a hammer that you can grab. If you played Super Smash Brothers, you're aware of kind of how the hammer operates. This is basically the game it started from.
Yeah, and the controls are actually kind of tight. When you make a jump, you can almost pinpoint it to the pixel. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it's excellent. I have nothing really else for the controls. Do you?
No.
Do you have any first memories of this title?
Watching G4 and G4 TV, sorry, and there was the King of Kong, I think was the documentary on this one, where it was both the two guys, forget their names, but they were held the highest record for this game.
Oh, gotcha. Oh, yeah, we can get into that a little bit in the level notes too. So, okay, interesting. I remember seeing it at somebody's house. Somebody had an NES, and they had this game. I went to a birthday party, but it really wasn't doing much for me. I believe at that point I had a Super Nintendo, and it seemed very archaic. So, and I don't ever remember being in an arcade as a child. So,
yeah, no appeal in that factor.
Mm-hmm. Kind of was before my time. So with that, I guess we'll get into this game's story. Donkey Kong is considered to be the earliest video game with a storyline that visually unfolds on screen. The character, Donkey Kong, is the game's de facto villain. The hero is a carpenter, originally named Jumpman, later renamed Mario. The ape kidnaps Mario's girlfriend, originally known as Lady, but later renamed Pauline. Guys, it's Pauline. They're not going to get that later. They don't listen to me. The player must take role of Mario and rescue her. This is the first occurrence of the damsel in distress scenario that would provide the template for countless video games to come. Gentlemen? Wow, what a great story. I like those short and sweet ones.
Yep.
I really hope that the girl is okay.
Yeah, that girl.
That girl. I forget her name already. I obviously wasn't listening.
Yeah, neither was I.
Yeah. So, level notes. There's 3 stages. I want to just kind of break down each stage and just kind of talk about how it works, basically.
Sure.
So, stage 1 looks like Donkey Kong kind of climbs up a skyscraper. He jumps on it to kind of cause all, or not even skyscrapers, just a bunch of, steel beams, and causes them to act all, diagonal?
Yeah, kind of crushes them a little bit so that all the ladders kind of shrink onto each other.
Yeah, and then all you have to do with this one is avoid barrels that he throws at you, and slowly climb up the little steel walkways, and like Tyson said, climb up the little ladders that are created, get to the top, and Donkey Kong moves on to the next part. Make sense?
Yep. Makes sense.
Stage 2, there is an elevator section, so this is a little bit more involved, and there are these little flame guys that are kicking around, so there are an enemy outside of just Donkey Kong. The idea and he throws springs at you, so you have to get across the elevator, but you can't like you're landing. The crappy thing about this is when you go to jump on the elevator, you have to make that jump almost as if you're at the same level. Because if you fall any distance, you die.
Yeah.
Which is really annoying. Make your way kind of across the screen. The nice thing is the springs move in a very unique, like a very set pattern, so it's easy to kind of move around them.
Yep.
All right, get to the top of this one. Guess what? Donkey Kong's at it again. He moves to the third and final stage. This one, there's a bunch of girders. Girders, that's what they're called. Boom, nailed it. There's 4 levels, and Donkey Kong's at the top.
Yes.
He sends little snake guys after you, and all you have to do is there's 8 little, I don't know what they are, switches, and when you walk over them, they disappear.
Yeah. As they disappear, the last one disappears. Basically, Donkey Kong flips upside down, falls down, and you've defeated him.
That's it. Yeah, so basically, I think you're trying to knock out the floor underneath of him, and he kind of falls, hits his head. Game over.
Yeah.
So then what happens?
Then basically Mario and the girl, a little heart pops up in between them, and they walk towards. They didn't even walk towards each other. They're just a little heart that pops up, and it's like, oh, that's it, game over. Turn to the main screen.
It keeps going.
Yeah,
I think.
Well, no, not the NES one.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, it kicks you to the main screen.
Okay, yeah, so in the arcade, once you did that, you would then just go back to the first level. So those kids they had these super massive high scores, you would just replay that again, those 3 stages, again, and again, and again.
I feel like there was 4 in the actual arcade cabinet. And there's
okay.
3 in the NES. So
oh, interesting.
Yeah, slight difference, but...
Interesting. I did not look into that. I should have watched maybe a couple extra videos or something like that, rather than just playing through it quickly like that. So...
When was it? We're never going to play the arcade in our life. So.
No, that's true. Very true. Current thoughts on this title?
It's interesting to see where kind of Nintendo's roots came from, but as it currently sits, this game...
Yeah, it definitely is aged well. It shows kind of that primitive arcade. It's literally meant to suck quarters out of your pocket. It's not meant to have fun or, to be one of those experiences you share. It's literally meant to suck quarters out of your pockets. Yeah. I'll never buy an NES Mini. If you have one at home, this is probably one of those titles, maybe you play it when you're bored of the other titles, but this one doesn't have staying power. Not at all.
Yeah.
I think I have a quick little theory on this game, and then we can move on.
Yep.
Short, sweet, not a lot of rambling on this one. We really had our minds focused. Good job, team. So the current thought, my theory today is Mario is Donkey Kong's evil master. In one of the handheld Game & Watch series, he used to whip the poor ape and cause him to run back and forth and catch fish that he would throw to entertain people. Donkey Kong then rebels, steals Mario's girlfriend, escapes from him. You're then privileged with this evil character of Mario then having to go and get your girlfriend back and take the poor ape out. Do you believe that Mario is this dastardly villain of this universe?
Obviously, have you seen his mustache?
He is straight up evil.
Yeah, straight up.
Oh man, Mario. Terrible. So we're playing as the first ever anti-hero.
I guess so. I don't know. It's kind of one of those things where do you believe a giant ape can be a good guy?
Yeah. Now, the really nice thing about this episode right here is, in my mind, we don't have to play Donkey Kong 2. We don't have to play Donkey Kong Jr. 3, which is basically the same premise, right?
Yeah.
Donkey Kong Jr. is Donkey Kong's son who basically Mario captures Donkey Kong and his son has to go after him. So it's a similar premise, except you play as Donkey Kong Jr. I mean, this really will translate well when we want to get into the Super Nintendo Donkey Kong Country. We'll be able to have a really smooth transition. Actually, I think the Donkey Kong in this game is supposed to be Cranky Kong.
Yes. Yes, I think so.
Or is it that he is Donkey Kong Jr. and then we're playing as kind of like Donkey Kong Jr.'s kid or something? Something like that?
No, because I think that Junior is the Donkey Kong that we all know and love.
Okay, so it's just when he was a baby, he saved his dad, and then he's kind of more grown up. And okay, so on the plus side, we don't have to readdress the series on the NES. We can move right to the better, higher quality games on the Super Nintendo. So that's really exciting. Other than that, you got anything else for us today?
Nah.
Awesome. All right. So with that, we'll end with our closing. Thank you for listening. You can contact Podtendo on Twitter at Podtendo Podcast, email us at podtendo@gmail.com, or check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/Podtendo. The music of Podtendo was used without permission and is property of Nintendo.